Hey, and welcome into Vinny Rottino Baseball Academy. This is the channel where we are breaking down players. We're talking about swings. We are giving free instruction virtually. If you guys want to send in your videos, please make sure to send them into Vinny Rottino Baseball Academy at gmail.com. I'll take a look at them and I'll do a video on them and see if we can help you guys out virtually. Make sure you please subscribe, like, all that stuff on social media. Still learning it, but I know that if you subscribe, it definitely helps me out. So please be sure to do that. Today, we're going to be looking at a player that I work with at the hitting center in the winters. I have a hitting clinic on Friday nights during the wintertime, and this is Jaxxon Silvasi. I just did a breakdown on his brother, Warner Silvasi, and both are very, very athletic kids, very good baseball players. But Jaxxon is a really good player, and we've been really able to help him. And I just want to highlight a couple of things that he's really learned how to do. And namely, he's really learned how to focus, just like his brother Warner. They both have really taken it upon themselves to really figure out, that they can become very good players if they focus and work hard. And so this is the thing that I teach most often to kids. It doesn't matter what age level I'm teaching them, but if I can teach these kids how to focus and how to work hard, they're going to become the best players that they can become if they do that. So that's really the message that I send them. I played in the big leagues, and I wasn't even the best athlete on my high school teams, right? So I played in the big leagues though because I wanted it. I wanted it more than everybody else. I had it in here and I had it up here, right? And I just really, really wanted to play. I really wanted to set some goals for myself, and I worked harder than everybody else, and that's why I made it. And so that's kind of what I teach these kids and the things that I message to the players that I work with. So, but before we get into his swing and what he's really been able to do, Jaxxon Silvasi, I do want to mention that this channel is brought to you by Maggie Rottino Real Estate. My wife Maggie and her brother Ricky Kuiper have teamed up, and they're just killing it in the real estate game in southeastern Wisconsin. So if you are in the market to buy or sell, please contact my wife Maggie Rottino or Ricky Kuiper. Maggie Rottino and Ricky Kuiper, the names for real estate in southeastern Wisconsin. Channel is also brought to you by Locked On Brewers Podcast. Dom Catronio and I are breaking things down as it pertains to the Milwaukee Brewers 5 days a week now that the lockout has ended. So Dom, tune into Locked On Brewers Podcast and listen into Dom Catronio and I talk about all things Milwaukee Brewers. So let's go ahead and get into Jaxxon Silvasi. So again, he's been able to really learn how to focus and really concentrate on what he's working on. So I teach these kids, okay, I want you to focus. I tell them, I don't even care how good you get. I want you to learn how to focus on what you're working on every single swing. And Jaxxon has really been able to do that. And specifically what we have been working on with him, and you're going to see the swing off the tee. I told him to take an old swing, a quote unquote old swing of his. And what he used to do is essentially he used to take the bat from one side of his shoulders to the other side of the shoulders without even really turning. He the lower half kind of just came along for the ride, and the upper body was very limited in his turn. And so all I've told him to do is I want him to turn that right shoulder to and through the baseball. And as a result, you will see that he's been able to really kind of start hammering the baseball. He never really used to be able to pull the ball with authority in the cages anyway. Again, I haven't seen him play a ton in games, but in the cages, he wasn't really able to pull the baseball. And it's important to be able to pull the baseball, especially at a younger age, because that means that you can hit a fastball out in front, right? So you don't want to be having the ball travel super deep into the hitting zone, and then you're trying to get the barrel there, kind of a defensive move. And that's what we saw from Jaxxon last year. Again, he's been able to really hone this in and really focus on what we've been focusing on. So also really, before we show the swings, the other thing that he was doing incorrectly as he was turning that right shoulder through the baseball, his head was coming with it. And his head would end up looking, if you're looking at that bottom panel there, his head would end up looking out the windows when he would turn his shoulders correctly. So now we've got him working on two things: turning that right shoulder to and through the baseball and keeping that head down. So again, the idea of turning the shoulders is really the way that we've gotten him to the spot that we've gotten him to. And it's piece by piece. It's little by little in teaching the game to players. And so however you can get them there, however you can tell them to feel a certain feel, that gets the result that you want. And that's kind of the approach that I take, and the approach that seems to work with a lot of these kids. So let's go ahead. So here's that top swing. Just take a look how his shoulders never really turn. So his bat just kind of goes from one shoulder to the next. He's just kind of pulling his hands around his body without turning. And now you can see that bottom swing. Phenomenal job of turning through that right shoulder. And as a result, the rest of his body turns phenomenally well. So take a look at that top swing, his hands kind of, I mean, it's a good path and he's got hand-eye coordination, but again, his hands just kind of, he never really turns. He doesn't turn that back side, and he kind of just pulls his hands across his body. You see that shoulder where it's at, and I'm going to kind of compare it to that bottom one, and his hips are not open at all at impact. So again, this is a much better swing, super athletic right here, very flat into the zone, to and through the ball. And take a look, that's big league stuff right there. He's got top hand, bottom hand, top hands facing towards the sky, bottom hands facing down. That's perfect. He's got his hips turned. He's got his back foot turned. He's got that right shoulder turned through the baseball. You can see the comparison. And so now much better. And his head stays there, and then it pulls off right at the end. Much better. See that right shoulder pulling through all the way through. Look at that top swing. His right shoulder never turns. It barely turns. It goes about 90 degrees. So great job here by Jaxxon Silvasi. And again, what I'm most proud of him for, and I know his dad helps me coach, Joe Silvasi, ex-teammate of mine at St. Cat's back in 1998 when we went to state. Anyway, he helps me coach, and I know he's proud of both of his boys because they've been able to work so hard and focus really hard on the things that they're focusing on, because they're both going to be very good players as a result. So thanks for tuning in. We will see you guys next time.